Please stand. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Mrs. Dawson.
Deputy Mayor Jarrett.
Here.
Trustee Moore.
Here.
Trustee Barker.
Here.
Trustee Sawyer.
Here.
Deputy Clerk Barker.
Here. Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Can I have a motion? Any questions?
We got 2 sets of minutes.
Yes, we'll do the regular January meeting first.
January 10th.
Yes.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then our special meeting that we held on 26th. Motion to accept.
Motion to accept. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Presentation of petitions, communications, and notices, and general questions period for members of the community. First of all, welcome everybody on St. Patrick's Day. I appreciate you coming out in St. Patrick's. See? It's a Saint's Day. Okay, have some cookies over here on St. Valentine's Day. I appreciate you guys coming out. We'll try and make this as quick as possible so you can get home to your little sweethearts. Do we have any comments from the gallery tonight? No? Okay. Move on to Mike. Mike Tatro. He is currently serving as our Code Enforcement Officer, and we would like to welcome aboard. We appreciate your help very much. He's been a very busy man. So he's going to fill us in on what he's doing and how he operates.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure so far working for the village. I have a few challenging things, but overall, it's going to be all right. Most of the things I've been dealing with, there's been a few garbage and junk problems within the village. Sort of took care of that. Building permits, we're starting to do them the way they should be done according to state law. I have some issues with some that were done in the past, and we have to resolve this. I can't give a certificate of occupancy on houses that aren't constructed according to New York State codes or follow the plan, so I have some things that we have to do there. And I just need to know that I have the village board's backing on this stuff, because some letters I have to send out are not going to be popular. And you'll all get copies of it, and usually I give an attachment of why it is, so you're going to see the code. It's not something I'm going to make up and hand to you. So, I have a few zoning issues within the village that there's a zoning board, but it doesn't meet regularly, so some things sort of fell through the cracks here. So we have to address that. And again, you'll get letters to this and what the procedure is. I guess it's my job as code officer. I also do the zoning, so I'll be taking care of that and going to the zoning board meetings also. And there's a planning board here also?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yeah.
So if there's a planning board meeting, I should be there also. Site plan review, things like that. Other than that, I basically don't have anything that's pressing right now. We have a few things we're working, but they're going to work their way through the system. So.
I know Mickey was asking me before the meeting whether he wants the support of us to follow the code book to the letter of the law, and in my opinion, I think we need to follow it to the letter of the law. That way we don't have any gray areas. But that's what he's asking for, from support for us, that yes, you know, if one person is in violation and there are 4 others, then we need to address those 4 others as well as the one that was brought to our attention.
I think, I'm sorry.
Yep.
My own opinion to that is, yeah, we shouldn't do it to the letter of the law. However, due to the time frame involved with no code officer, like you said, you've done a lot of stuff that's kind of overlooked or whatever the case is. I will assume you use certain discretion before you nail somebody to a cross.
Oh,
right?
My
Is that
intention is
normal
not to nail
procedure?
anybody to the cross here.
Right.
My intention is, if first of all, I should reiterate that part of my job is to protect the village.
Right.
I'm supposed to interpret the building code according to the way the state has informed me, and I have to enforce it to, to protect the people that's building, the people that's gonna live there, and also to protect the village board, because ultimately, you are responsible should an insurance claim ever come and the lawyers start coming out of the woodwork here. So that my ultimate job is the village of Champlain.
Right.
So that's part of it. And the goal is not to get people in the court and fine them.
No.
The goal is to get compliance. You know, if the law is, you know, you can have 4 tree houses and somebody has 5, well, you know, we gotta go back to 4 here. It's a little ridiculous, but that's the way it has to work.
Not being real familiar on the procedure of that, but use tree houses for example. I guess what I'm saying is that, say there's a code here that says you're allowed 4 tree houses, not 5. You run across a resident that has 5. I guess what I'm saying, the discretion part is before we write them the fine, you provide a warning or a notification saying you're not within the limits. This is what the limits are. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
What I usually do is I write them a letter and I cite them the part of the zoning law or the village code or the building law of which part that they may be in violation of. You never want to accuse them of they're violating. That's the last step. You know, there's a apparent violation or whatever, and you explain why it can't be the way it is, and then you ask them to comply. And if they're nice, they'll comply. They'll call you up and want to know why. I got a 90% rule. 90% of the people will comply. 10% are never going to do what you want. I don't care if it's goal line. So, you know, I mean, that's just the way human nature is.
I guess what I was getting at is because of the time lapse involved, the code officer and whatever. What I don't want to do, we're here as a community and we're here to serve and protect and welcome a community. So I guess what I'm saying is, I guess you answered it very well, is that, yeah, you're not going to go nail somebody to a cross because they had 5 tree houses. Here's a letter, you're not supposed to have 5 tree houses, you need to have 4. That's what, I guess my question was answered perfectly with that. A compliance letter, yeah. Because you know what I don't want to do is start an uprising of, geez, what's going on here? And I'm not saying that you do that, I just want to make sure it's clear that.
The last thing you want to do is create an enemy before you even talk to the person, so, I mean.
Perfect, good.
It's like being an ambassador.
Yeah.
It's a delicate job.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, has the property on Church Street been brought to your attention, the old Papillon building? I believe it's 90.
Well, actually, I want to ask you that. I was reading some of the board minutes, and I noticed that you had spoken with the person that owns it.
Right.
And, I mean, I don't understand which point we're at here. So
Well,
I didn't want to go do anything until I knew what the deal was.
The last thing I remember was when Superintendent Webb was here, we sent him a 30-day notice to either comply or we were going to take further actions with him. As I know, that's never been followed through with. Now, he has cleaned the inside of the building out. He has picked up some of the bricks on the outside of the building. The problem with that is, if you go by there, you'll see it. The rest of the bricks are just hanging there. And that structure is really a collapse problem. We also have a slate roof, which pieces of the slate, I would imagine tonight's probably bad too, are starting to slide off, and we've got little kids next door.
That building there falls under the category of an unsafe building in the building code.
Right.
There are different, how do you want to say that, descriptions of what it is, but that would fit it. And there is a process to, you send them a letter, hey, you've got 15 days to rectify the problem, board it up, fence it off, do whatever you need to do, but it's got to be fixed so nobody can get in there.
Right.
Right now, I'm not sure that that's the case.
It's not the case. You
Right.
can get in there,
And kids being what they are,
gonna be curious.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So something has to be done.
I just wanted to bring that to you, Jen, if you could address that.
I think that's kind of where it left off. Amy, do you remember any more about that?
Yep, no, you're right now.
The last point of that dealing, and there was a couple hurdles we had prior to that. Previous owners selling it,
Right.
county came in, this guy bought it at auction, and that's where we left off. A
Right.
little bit of history to it.
So we'll throw the ball into your hands.
Okay, I know, I just need,
We'll
I
tag
didn't want
you.
to step on anybody's toes that
Oh, no.
things were being done or whatever.
We're thrilled
and,
to have you. Jump on board and
you know,
take the
I
ball
don't
and
mind
run.
catching the heat for it.
I think you have everybody's support.
It's been an ongoing situation there.
Yeah.
It really has.
Also, while we have you here, I was just wondering, the building downtown in Champlain, I know, so we just, I don't know if we did that or what the situation, the one down in Main Street, we just boarded up.
Oh, yeah. We did
Now,
that.
is that, could you let us know what's going on with that, or what was?
Basically, I had to condemn the building as uninhabitable.
Right.
And now the village has to make a determination as to, the place has to be cleaned up, otherwise other issues will come
Now, is
forward.
that just for that one building? Because
Yes.
she also has 2 other
No,
properties.
that's the only one that I was in. So that's the only one that I
Because
had.
I tell you, the one with the most trouble is the one on Cedar Street that's falling down.
There's several buildings in question, and the property owners and material, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Oh, if a building is falling down in the village, now again, this is a village board thing. If we start condemning buildings and say the owners don't wanna cooperate, now the village has to fund these projects.
Right, right,
I mean,
yeah.
there's asbestos surveys that have to be done, and you can't single a building out. If you're gonna do one, then all the buildings that are unsafe or would meet the category have to be addressed,
it's
because,
a delicate situation.
well, what happens if you end up in court, the judge will throw it out as, oh,
Sure.
well, how come you're picking on me, but you're not
That's right.
picking on him?
Right.
So, usually we try to get them to at least board them up.
Well,
Working.
compliance is better than going to court every
Yeah,
day. That's
well-
what we're trying to get out of it.
Going to court can be very expensive, lawyers aren't cheap, as everybody knows, I'm sure, so.
Are you suggesting as a next step, or we should just hold at this point?
For the unsafe buildings,
Right. For the one issue in question?
I would just hold for
Just
now.
hold, okay.
Yeah. Let's see,
See what transpires out of it and go from there.
Yeah.
But I think you have the whole board's support as far as following through with any of
Well, if you ever have any questions, I'm not hard to get hold of.
your, great.
We appreciate it.
I'll leave
Appreciate
some
that.
cards here, the phone number, and everything else, so.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, report of the deputy mayor. First of all, I would like to thank several people for the ice rink and all the work that went into it. And all of you have noticed, lots of people have been taking great advantage of that. I'd like to thank Samples Lumber, who supplied the wood that constructed the frame for the whole rink. Robin Bayshard donated the building, and the DPW crew painted it, cleaned it up, built benches inside, so the kids are protected from the wind to get their skates put on, which is nice. David Crichton and his family. David used to live in Champlain in the McManus's house, and they sent $100 to us. He had seen it on the internet and wanted to make a donation to help out. So they sent some money to cover any expenses that we had there. Shazy Hardware gave us some wood as well for the benches inside. Twin Town gave us a shovel and some screws to put everything together. Sam's Club donated hot chocolate. Mid-State Industries donated a shovel to us. Jay Bouye finished up the lighting down there. He put in a timer and got everything going, which is great. And Rainey Poirier had started the process, gave us some cable and some, what's the other word?
Conduit.
The what?
Conduit.
Thank you, to get that started. So it's really kind of an awesome endeavor, and thank you for all those who baked for our open house. We had quite a few people turn out, and it was good food. I ate too much of it myself. It was good. Another thank you to our DPW crews for such a fantastic job cleaning the streets with this last snowstorm we had. I would like to let everyone know that right here, Main Street is the state's job in cleaning it. We can pass a plow through it, but it is their responsibility. So if you see the main drag is kind of clogged up, but all our side roads are nice and neat, that is the advantage of having the village and them out there cleaning the streets. They do a great job. So I appreciate all their good work. I need to get back with all of you on the grants. I have put out numerous phone calls to people. I did speak with Missy McManus last week, and she had said on some of the grants that we might be looking for, such as water tower and anything to do with the sewage plant, that we would or should look into hiring an engineer, which we are budgeted to do. And an engineer would be able to write the grants because of the technicality in those specific grants, depending on what we end up looking for. So I will continue to follow up on that and see what the costs will be. I have 3 calls out to separate grant writers and have called again and haven't gotten return calls. So I am working on that, trying to get some answers there. The ice situation up here with the outstanding bill to us will be paid. I spoke with CJ Madonna, and he will give us something in writing tomorrow stating that they will be paying that bill for us. So that's $4,000 back to us, which is great. And I think that's all I have. I'm sure I'll come up with something else, but we'll leave that for now.
Excuse me, on the grants, the boat launch grant. Remember
Yes.
to follow up on that, how'd you make out with that?
I still have to work on that. Unfortunately, there's been so many things going on, I have not had the detail.
Remember you saying Christmas or whatever was going on,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So
well,
what
never
did I
since
make
all
out?
this other stuff has happened, I've been like full-time hours doing all this stuff, and
Actually, on that, if I can, on that grant, somehow the paperwork, I just got a call from ex-superintendent Sue Webb the other day. For some reason, they sent the paperwork to his house. I don't know why, but that should have came to our office, the correspondence between the funding, and it should have been to the village of
Did
Champlain.
you get a copy? Or
I
is he gonna
didn't
give
get a
you
chance to get a copy from him, but what he's explaining to me is that we're gonna have to go through the whole process again. It's too late, that the time's already passed for that. We should have had the paperwork in by now, and so that grant is no longer
Is he gonna be
available. As soon as I get a paperwork from him, I'll grab it from him.
Bring it in.
Yeah.
okay. Well, I will
How recently did you
check
get
all
that?
of
I guess within the last, I just talked to him a couple days ago, so I guess within the last week or so, he's got it, within the last 2 weeks, he's got, notice.
Did you get anything on it?
No, but we can certainly, call this
Oh,
guy and
find
see
out.
what's going on.
Right, yeah.
That would be extended.
And then I'll try to,
Yeah.
Joe got it extended when he was working on it.
Yeah, 30-day
I think,
extension or
yeah,
60 days.
And then January 16th or December 16th, we were supposed to, I think that's when we had, 2 weeks left or something to send our rest of our paperwork in. I'll get a copy from Mr. Webb, and that way we can look at it, but I believe it's not done yet.
check into that. Report Trustee Parker, please.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot tonight. The other question I have is, seeing we're on grants, I see we got a notice for a project named Champlain Industrial Park Infrastructure Expansion in 2001. Does anybody know anything about that one?
No, that was, isn't that, I'm not sure which letter you're looking at.
It
That
wasn't really
that
the
was a
first-
water line extension to the school, wasn't it?
No, this was from Clinton County Health Department. A project file review for the above-mentioned project. I guess it's, what it's reading is in 2001, we filed for industrial park infrastructure expansion. And unfortunately, we've got till February 22nd of this month to respond to them on.
I think that's essential. You sure doesn't refer to the extension we just put on from the line put in 2001?
No, that is actually our industrial park, and the Champlain Development Corporation will be responding to that. They hired the engineer, they have to just send them a trust.
Yeah. That's one question I have with that. I have nothing for executive session. I really don't have a lot to report on this one. That's pretty much it for me.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Moore?
I just had a few things. I met with Scott Stoddard, the environmental engineer at Wyeth. He said that probably this year he's gonna have to take a look at our waste treatment plant, make sure everything is okay as far as they're concerned, because we handle the sewage from Shadesy plant. So just a heads up on that, but he will probably be doing that this year. I also contacted Mike Matthews from the Teamsters. Where it stands now is we owe them a letter back that we want a third party to check the cards.
Okay.
That would just be a matter of contacting them. We would have to set up, usually they use like a priest or a doctor or somebody like that that's a totally impartial person.
Okay.
But that would be our next step, is to send them a letter saying that we would be willing to check those out.
All right, so do you want to check into getting a third-party person?
Do we,
Well, I can write them a letter back first saying,
Okay.
yes, we're willing to do that, and we'd like to do that. I can get it to you and you can review it.
Okay.
And if it's okay, we can send it in.
Jeff, from what I understand, I think we did send a letter back to him saying we acknowledge the letter we got from you, correct?
Yeah,
Right, and they sent one back.
Oh, we've got another one?
I contacted Mike Matthews and he said that they do have signed cards. At the point that they have signed cards.
Did he send us a letter to that effect, or anything like that, and everything, or is this just a verbal?
Yeah,
No, he did send us a letter
He did
saying
send it
that,
back.
that they had cards. I didn't notice that. That was from when I first started. There was a previous letter saying that they had signed cards. Okay, but at the point they say they have signed cards, then it's, we're kind of obligated to check those
Well,
out.
the last letter that we got from them, we need to respond saying, yeah, we received your letter that these guys are interested in joining the union.
Chuck did send back the letter concerning that.
That's right.
And then they sent
we-
back and said, this isn't adequate, you really didn't say anything, you need to recognize us.
They went one step beyond that. They have already signed cards.
Right, so we
And
have-
whatever, well, I guess what
Yeah.
I'm saying is,
You
no
can't-
doubt they have.
You can't ignore that.
I'm not, but what I'm saying is, but what you're doing is you're basing it off a phone call. So did they send us a letter saying we
Yes,
have
they did
cards?
send us a letter.
That's what I'm asking for.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, all I don't wanna do is jump the gun with this. Let's make sure we go by protocol. If they did send a letter, I don't have a copy of it, but apparently you saw it.
Yeah, it's actually old correspondence. It was
Yeah.
from, some of the correspondence I looked at before, when I
Probably
started,
January.
it was prior to that.
January.
Right before the agenda application. So we might
The one we got in January is the one we responded to the first time.
No, I think we got the first letter in December. Chuck
Yeah.
responded in January, they sent a letter back immediately saying,
In
this is,
January.
this is vague, this is saying nothing, we need you to
Cause
recognize
I
it.
have everything
Before my
for
first
that in
meeting.
one packet, and I don't
Yeah.
have it. I haven't seen it.
Because
haven't
when I
heard it.
look back at that,
You know.
that's,
Yeah, I remember reading it.
that's something you have to respond to. You can't
Oh,
ignore it.
I'm not saying not to.
And you
What I'm
can't say
saying
you
is,
got the letter.
it's hard for the board to keep up if we don't
Yeah.
know. You know, I'm trying to keep
Okay.
on top of this like everybody is, and
Yeah,
that's
we were
great.
copied on that, I remember reading it, so. I don't have that file with me, but I remember reading that.
Doesn't the union set up a third party? For
They
us?
may be, it's either us or them. Actually, we both have to agree.
Whoever the third party is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, there has to be somebody trusted that wouldn't tell on you who signed the cards.
There's a keyword.
The other thing I did, you had asked me to find some job sites we could post
Yes.
our superintendent jobs on. There are many sites out there, but most of them are for fee. I did find two, though. One's a New York State site,
Okay,
and I have a copy of this, you don't have to really just.
Oh, okay, great.
And, the other one is New York Job Explorer. They're both free. I thought it would be good to start with these. One is posted nationally,
oh, good.
but you want to get people that are interested in a job in New York State. So I thought this would be the best place to start with the
Okay.
New York State sites and the free.
Mhm.
So, as a matter of fact, I don't have the email address for the office here, but if I have that, I could email this to you and you could just use the links.
Oh, perfect.
And just have to click on them. I didn't register with them because, at the point you register, you want to make sure it's the address is here.
Okay, I'll have them write their address on. Do we need a motion to go ahead and post those jobs in the two sites?
It might be better to have one, if you think.
Can I get a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion to post it.
Okay, second?
Is there any cost to this?
No,
These
these
two
two are
are free.
free.
Yeah.
I picked the ones that are free.
So we get a test
Start
out
there.
So we're gonna advertise for a position of superintendent,
Yes.
is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Can I ask what happened? I think last month we talked about talking to somebody about coming in part-time. Did anything ever come of
Yep,
that?
I spoke with him at great length, and kind of left it. He said if things are running smoothly, there is no point in bringing someone in at a part-time basis. You know, things are going okay. He said that he would recommend that we get looking for a permanent position. But he's willing to help us out in any way, shape, or form if we need it. So I talked with Larry and asked if there was anything that needed to be addressed as a superintendent that needed immediate attention. And he said that things were okay. So unless we can think of something that would have to be addressed.
I think the last board meeting you brought it up, saying that we need to hire somebody so we can move
Right.
forward. So I assumed you thought it needed to be addressed.
Mhm.
That's why I suggested that if elections are coming up, instead still have an appointment issue that's black and white. You know what I mean? I just don't wanna get into spending more money, taxpayers' money, when we haven't settled the first issue.
Right, well,
Well, this doesn't cost us anything.
right,
To advertise for a
To
job.
advertise.
right.
We've already
More
advertised.
expense.
Right.
You don't have to act on whatever you find out.
Right.
And we've already advertised once and hadn't acted on. I mean, we can do this, sure, it's not a
Yeah,
problem,
second,
but what's the point?
I'll second it.
Yeah, not bad, that's great.
Okay, second, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
I just had one other thing, I didn't get a chance to say that to Mike before, but I've had a very positive response on, your work so far.
That's good.
And,
Yes.
everybody really cares about their property and whatnot. That's why we have zoning laws, and, you don't have to be, brutal about it, but,
No.
people do care about what's next door to them. I found that out in talking to people, and they're happy with the direction that we're going. So, that's just one other question, which I guess I want to bring up now, is about grant writing. Are we looking at getting somebody to do this, or?
I'm trying many avenues.
Okay.
Ultimately, I'd like to have someone write all of our grants and that does a job for us and is able to incorporate their expense into the grant itself. I haven't found that person yet. But I did just get another contact for a grant writer that writes for the city of Plattsburgh, and I have not gotten a return call on that one yet. And I think that's going to be a very good avenue. So.
Okay, just want to make sure we're still alive there.
We're very alive. I tell you, I can't tell you how many phone calls I've made and follow-ups and trying to get answers. But we're at the beginning of the year and everybody's out there looking for money, and these grant writers are like gold to get hold of. So if need be, I will take that grant writing course and write the grants, because we do want to move forward here in the
I
village.
think what happened was years ago, I think ex-mayor LaFleur had stopped pretty much all the grant writing, isn't that what you were saying to us or something?
Well, we had quite a few going, we had about 6 or 7 grants going at the same time. So we he asked the office to slow down a little bit and finish up, and the only one we got left was that photo launch.
Yeah.
All the others were done with trees and paint.
So superintendents were pretty much writing all our grants for us at that time? Correct.
No, the mayor worked on it, Mayor McManus was here at the time, she did a great deal of work, Mayor Agor did a great deal of work, Superintendent did a great deal of work. Out of the office, we've gotten about 6 Sarah grants, which is the state archives grants. We've got a fireproof room in the back, we've got the shelves, we've got the boxes, we've got a couple machines, and all kinds of things. So it depends on what area we're talking.
That's all I have.
Okay. And along the grant writing, to let you know too, I'm blanking, so give me a moment. My mind just went totally white. Okay, it's gonna stay white. So when it comes back, I'll jump in and tell you what it was. Sorry, I do it all the time. Okay, thank you. Trustee Moore?
Did you want to, I just see another resident came in, I don't know if you want to open back to the public or just
Sure.
keep moving
Did you
on?
have anything that you wanted to comment on?
Sure, a couple things, if I may
Okay.
take your time.
Sure.
Gift to the village to help perhaps run the meetings a little bit more orderly fashion, I guess. Champlain has a rich and varied history, and I was wondering if the village, you folks are planning to do anything with the War of 1812 celebrations that are coming up in the next few years. Any planning on that? Any sense of trying to save the history of the village?
Not to interrupt you, but the War of 1812, is that one, the Battle of Plattsburgh, or is that one that was local? I'm not that well versed on the history.
Well,
yeah.
I've
go
heard
ahead.
something about it, but.
I like history also, and actually the one thing about Champlain is, at one point during the Battle of 1812, the bridge downtown in Champlain for 9 hours straight had something like 15 or 18,000 British troops that walked across our bridge through our village to go to the Battle of Plattsburgh. So the village of Champlain was actually, we were caught up in the War of 1812 on many different aspects. Also, as these soldiers were coming back out of Plattsburgh with wounded and things, I believe the village of Champlain was pillaged and shops were broken into by the British soldiers on their way back to Canada. And, I mean, I guess the village residents really suffered back then. So, you know, for the beginning of our country, you know, which a lot of people don't realize in the world, if it wasn't for the Battle of 1812, it wouldn't be the United States that we are today.
Right, this one we call England, the Battle of Plattsburgh?
We
Was that
fought
18?
the British out of Canada.
Oh.
We do have a village historian now.
I think.
Well, we did before, but Joseph Patry, I think he wants to take it to the next level and really be very active in that. So that'd be something that we can bring to his attention and ask him, you know, to make some plans.
Well, certainly its history extended, you know, in the War of 1812, beginning in 1812. I don't know how many not a traitor, individual who shirked his service was executed here in the village. It's in Pliny Moore's diary. You know, it's really amazing what went on here. And to think that one could sit here and look over the hillsides on the other side of the river and see 12,000 men, officers camped, is really quite amazing. I hope the village would give some consideration to protecting those areas through whatever means they can. I'm concerned about the village's proposed expansion. I'm curious to know what effects the annexations proposed might have on the village, its tax rate, and the assessment. I would love to have you folks invite someone from Clinton County Real Estate or Realtors Board or Assessment to come and explain what they think may happen with the proposed development here in the village.
I can probably answer some of that for you. I don't have detailed information in front of me. Part of the annexation thing that you're hearing?
That's fine.
Oh, okay.
And I think the village needs at some point to consider its dissolving and joining the town. I think there's a great deal to be gained by that. Certainly, there's a reduction in duplication of services, the capacity to have a larger tax base supporting technical people and lawyers, engineers, etc., and the economies of scale. I think at this point you need to give very serious consideration to that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
All right, Trustee Poirier, back to you.
I don't have that much either. I guess in response to this information you're giving me, I don't know if you noticed the Wisconsin date, 2000, and the footnote that says this changes daily. It's in our personnel policy.
We called on this and checked with them for verification on it.
This is state of Wisconsin. It's a driver's handbook. All I'm saying is it's right in our personnel policy. We already have our own. We didn't have to.
Oh, I see.
See what I'm saying? So
Okay.
this doesn't really apply. Our personnel policy would supersede.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing, there's been, oh yeah, the letter I received from the village over the band clamp. Have you got a solution to that?
No, I don't have a solution yet.
Okay.
I've been up to the park and we're waiting on answers
To the park?
to where the trailers are.
Oh, trailer park,
Yep.
okay. What I've done, and maybe we can make copies so I can show you and maybe the girls later can make copies.
Yeah.
The first thing of the band clamp,
Mm-hmm.
that's the original invoice of the purchasing. You can see the definition. This is the original work order. If you flip it over, that's the invoice. On the back side, you can see the original invoice written by the employees that the secretary takes and transposes the information. Okay. You're welcome to make copies and give everybody on the board. You can put that issue to bed.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
In regards to the water meters.
Yes.
Okay. We had a meeting, and I have it, it's June, I took the copy out of the videotape, but it was June 14th meeting, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we spoke here about the water meters, King Street Trailer Park. I reviewed the tapes, I took the section out, exactly what was said, Albert was here. There's a copy of the invoice to Tom Powers. You can see about water meter issues on there.
Mhm.
Do you see any?
Hold on.
Okay.
What do you want me looking for?
What I was accused of, water meters. Reselling a water meter from the village.
Who said that?
Right here, in this letter. You said that in previous
Just
policies.
replace the parts that you had borrowed.
Right, and I told you that they were not borrowed. I talked to Albert Laporte about it, I talked to Chuck Connors about it. Now I'm speaking to you about it, so I'm putting this to bed.
Well,
We're here-
I'm
we're-
still looking into it, so we can, give me all your information, that would be great. And
That's right.
because I want to get it put to bed too.
I do
as
too,
well.
trust me,
So
because
give me
this
what
kind
you
of
have.
slander really isn't fair to another member of the
Well,
board.
it's not meant to be slander, as I told you when you
Well,
called.
This is a letter I couldn't get from Joe Webb, but I got it from Tom Powers, a letter sent to Joe Webb in regards to the discussion and the letters that Albert said in the tape to get this resolved.
Okay, well, the concern is that these water meters still are not in working order.
That's right. But
And
if you watch-
they were not to be turned over to us until they were in working order.
Watch the tape, is what
Okay.
I'm saying. You
I'll
know,
rewatch the
it's-
tape. So
It's easy to
6:14?
sit here and say something, if you
Yep.
don't know, it's best to say you don't know. I know, is what I'm saying. So if you want to doubt me, that's fine, but I do know.
I'm not
I've-
saying that at all.
Okay, I've seen the tape and I
I
know
will
it's
watch it
there.
again,
Okay.
all right?
The only other thing I have is, I got a call from a Rodney Pickering. He lives up in this King Street trailer park.
Okay,
He reported to me this letter. I don't know if everybody got a copy of it or not.
what letter?
Everybody got a copy? I didn't see the check mark, so I'm sure.
The water meter's not working?
Yeah, it says, typed out letter, 12 King Street, Champlain, Village of Champlain, Board of Trustees, 1104 Route 9, Champlain. Dear Board, I would like to inform you of the situation at my home at Riverside Trailer Park on Queen Street. There has been some discussion whether or not the meters are working in the trailer park. My meter has not worked for 4 years and still does not work. The manager, Tom Powers, informed us that all of the meters had been repaired by Rainey's Repair last year. However, the majority of these meters still do not work. I just wanted to keep you advised of the meter problems at this trailer park. So this is also in connection with the water meter issue. My question is what date did we get this? Was this sent in the mail? How did we get this?
We got that in January, didn't we?
Is that when he
Just
came
beginning
into
of
play,
February?
and he was complaining that the bill wasn't
Yeah.
paid, yeah, when he came into play.
January 26th, probably.
Check, see that it's
I'll
bill.
have to look at the bill, I'm not sure. Didn't have the date stamp on it.
That's there?
Date stamp.
No, it has the date on it.
Okay, it was the day he furnished the bill indicator.
So he hand delivered this.
Yes.
Did Rodney type this himself?
It was handed to me.
That's not what Rodney was telling me. He said he came in to pay his water bill and Larry asked him about it and Larry said, don't worry, Donna can type this up for you.
Yeah, he hand delivered what he had penciled down, but I typed it for him here. The letter, yes.
Why didn't we get the pencil down version? Do we still have that?
I don't think so, we're gonna have to fill it out.
So when a resident, a taxpayer hand delivers a handwritten situation, we retype it and we don't get a copy of it? Doesn't it seem like I mean, if you're in my shoes, wouldn't you think there's something weird going on here? You see what I'm saying? He came in to pay his water bill. This is what Rodney told me himself.
He complained that he's been paying full price for a couple of years.
Yeah. Larry says, well,
Larry
geez,
said,
Rodney, if
well-
you want to give me a letter, Donna can type it up for you.
I don't know if
Is
that's
that-
exactly what it was.
I typed the letter, yes, I did type the letter for him,
Right.
yes.
Off his handwritten notes,
Yes, he had just a couple of things written down.
but we didn't get his handwritten notes.
No, I
He didn't seem to
just-
indicate anything about handwritten notes.
Well,
but-
that's what I was
Anyways, this is
handed.
just and I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot here. This, in conjunction with that, this reoccurring fires, we need to put them out. I have nothing to hide. Nor will I sit here and be slandered or badgered, or whatever you want to call this, on an every meeting basis. It's not fair. I do not do personal attacks to anyone here, nor do I expect that in return. whether it's verbally or on paper. I demand that much respect. That's what I demand. So what I'm saying is this kind of stuff needs to stop. If a resident comes in with a handwritten note and you take the time to type it up for them, that's great. Then we need the handwritten note, because that's not what he's telling me. You see what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, there's too many issues here. There's too many issues that are getting blown out of proportion. We read the newspaper. Where did the newspaper get information? They must have called here. A week ago, the newspaper states, registration day, 15th. Okay, so Saturday they come out with a correction, registration day the 5th.
That was their error.
I read the paper Saturday, after I was told the petitions were challenged, and it says, Saturday in the paper, it says, no petitions were challenged. You see what I'm saying? Why is there so much confusion? Where does the ball stop and we get clarification and get rid of the grayness? On all of these issues,
Well,
not
we
just
control
one.
the press, Rainey, and what the press prints. They obviously have made a mistake.
Mhm.
You know, they corrected that other mistake. And I would assume that they would correct Saturday's mistake as well.
Yeah, but where do they get the information? Does the press just say, let's pick a day, or do they call the office? Well, where does this come from? How can there be so, we do this every year.
The election notice was mailed down to them like it always is. Apparently it was a typo error. That wasn't what you had at the meeting, it wasn't what I had at the meeting, what was in the paper was incorrect.
Right.
Part of the petition, whenever she called, whatever day that was, nothing had been done at that point. Nothing had been done to say that anything was being questioned. She doesn't work Friday, Saturday. That Friday was the deadline, so.
Well, Friday, you actually challenged the petitions. It was challenged on Friday.
Right.
She doesn't work on Friday, so she must have called on Thursday, wherever she got that, you know, checking on that.
Thursday.
Where did she call for information?
I think she
Peter?
called down to the board and asked if any petitions had been challenged. And at that point, they hadn't been challenged.
She didn't call there?
Friday. They wouldn't have been challenged for Friday anyway.
I guess, you know, I'm not going to detail, it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is, we're trying to be as professional as we can here. We should at least get our dates correct, or at least give more effort or more time. If we see a problem and a pattern starting, we need to fine tune it, I would think.
Well, I would check with the press, Rainey, if you want further clarification
Well,
on that.
Janice just told you that she handed in the correct date.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's all we
same
can do.
thing as their minutes. I mean,
We can't do
In
anything.
fact, the press called and apologized when
Oh,
she
no doubt.
realized that there was a
Sure.
wrong date. She said, we're running again for, you know, no
No
charge or
doubt,
anything.
no doubt. Accidents
So,
do happen.
you
What
know.
I'm saying is they're starting to compile. Well, so what I'm saying is what we need to do as professionals, or trying to be as professional as we can, let's curtail and pay closer attention. I'm not saying
But
there's
if
one
it was in
particular
the, if
letter.
it was in the paper wrong, we didn't know that until we read it. So once it was found out, then it was corrected. you know.
That's neither here nor there. I don't want to detail, it's not that critical. All I'm saying is we need to regroup. We need to be more professional looking and more
Okay.
professional acting.
All right, let's
Okay.
move on. Yep.
Okay?
Actually, if I could I just interrupt you for a minute, Rainey? I forgot about this, and I don't know why. Just to let public know that our petitions, everybody's petitions for nomination has been challenged. This is the first time. I talked to election official commissioner today, and they have been there 18 years. This is the first time this has ever happened, especially in a village or in a town. The county, this happens quite often because you got 40, 50, 60,000 voters. In a small village like this, they're really complex about this situation because it's never happened before. So within the village of Champlain, we just set a precedent. The first time in over 18 years that all our petitions have been challenged for nomination to be on the ballot.
Are you saying that it's never been challenged, or all of them have never been challenged?
No, this is what I understand from the election commissioner was this is the first time that anybody in a village has challenged all petitions.
All petitions?
Right.
Yeah. But petitions have been challenged in this village prior to this year?
Absolutely. But this is the first time that all petitions, and they were all challenged by Amy Garrett.
Mhm.
Just to let everybody know.
Who still has a one-year term, right? Nobody's competing against you, you're still here for me.
Yes.
I found that interesting,
Well, the reason that I challenged the petitions is because of the constant questioning of us doing things legally and to the letter of the law. At every meeting, we are accused of not doing things to the letter of the law. So I wanted to review all petitions and verify that they were valid, because the last thing I want is someone to be elected and put in a position and they did not have a valid petition.
That's
So
great.
I'm covering our butts. So I challenged every petition. to
I
do that.
commend you for that. I found it interesting, and that's great. So what
That's
you're
why I
saying
did
is,
it.
as professionals, we need to do everything to the letter of the law, the best
Yes.
that we can do.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
So the Joe Webb thing, as far as the legal issue to that, that's something that you don't want handled. Because that's
No, I
something,
believe that we've handled it. No motion was made or anything to go any further with that. We've discussed that
You won't
as
allow
far as we're
executive
going to
session already.
discuss it.
you don't allow executive session on an appointed position, and Paul read it right here in public. The law says we have to pay the guy. That's all I want is a letter from our lawyer that we can't even get.
Our
So we
lawyer
can put
has-
this to
our-
bed.
our
I don't want to
lawyer-
pay the guy if we don't have to.
The
But let's
lawyer
get
has
something.
responded to that.
Not in writing, he hasn't.
He responded to you on a phone.
He refuses to put it in writing, which tells me if a lawyer refuses to put something in writing, he doesn't really believe what he's saying.
Did you have a copy of that?
Everyone was copied with it. The board was copied for board
He
eyes
never
only.
answered. He never answered that. He never answered it. So that's okay with you, that the legality that you're just stating is
I
okay now?
believe that we have discussed that issue as far as we're going to get with it.
And that's your opinion.
Well,
And
no
the legal-
motions have ever been made or brought, we go over it for hours and hours and hours. And no one has come to me stating that they wanted to go into executive session as I had requested, so there is no executive session today. Okay, anything else?
The executive session, just so you're clear on it, and I did notice in correspondence that you put in our mailbox,
Mhm.
what you stated at the last meeting is that you need to approve or disapprove of anybody who wants to go into executive session, whether the issue was worthy or not.
No,
In your
not
letter-
worthy, was legal
Well,
to
that-
go into executive session.
That's right.
We have been going
That's
into
right, that's what,
executive
hold on,
session
hold
for
on,
a legal
hold on,
reason.
hold on. That's what your letter said.
Let people finish their thought,
That's
Rainey,
what your
and
letter
then
said.
you can
But you need
continue
to get
with
it
your
correct.
thought.
You need to get it correct, Amy. That's what your letter said. You said on camera, and then Paul said, well, geez, that's kind of dictatorship, and you said, that's right. Okay, that's what was said. Now, in the letter, you did say that, I agree. That's what it says in the letter. That you need to make sure we're not going to executive session in case it's illegal. Paul read 3 issues, right out of the personnel policy or right out of the handbook. These are all legal issues, and I have 3 of them, and you said no.
And I explained why for each one of those reasons.
I've never heard an explanation.
Well, it's because you guys are too busy interrupting to hear the answer.
No, I don't think that's true.
Okay, let's move on. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
So, well, I'm sorry, a little bit more. When will I get an answer on
As
these
soon as-
ongoing
As
saddles?
soon as I get all the answers, I am researching it and trying to come to a final conclusion.
How many more answers do you need? Because I can get them, no problem. I'm willing to help, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
Because
well-
this thing has been dragging on for a long time.
Well, I will work on it.
I don't know
and
where
I
you're
will
getting your
get you an answer.
information, but you need to get factual.
That's what I'm working on.
Excellent. That's what I need. Because it's, enough is enough.
Right. Okay. Report of the clerk treasurer.
I just have my revenue expenditure report for January, which I'm happy with, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Report of the superintendent. Larry is out working on the roads. So he did copy us with his report. Are there any questions on that?
Is that superintendent or foreman?
Well, it's technically a superintendent report, but he's reporting as foreman, yes.
I think it's stated at the top, isn't
Assistant superintendent / foreman, yes. Any questions on that? Correspondences.
Item 1. Excuse me, letter of resignation from Charles Connor as mayor effective January 14th, 2005.
We need to make a motion to accept that
Yes.
resignation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
A second?
No, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And regrettably, thank you. Chuck, for everything you have done for the village over the years, we appreciate it very much. Thank you, Ms. Dawson, continue.
Item 2 is deleted. We had at our last meeting. Item 3 is correspondence from Harris Beach to the town of Champlain regarding the various water and sewer districts and after filing of the state, which we had a question on. Item 4 is correspondence from Teresa Rabideau questioning her water sewer bill, and I think got a copy with your paperwork on that
Yep,
item.
tonight. I think her confusion on that was the meter was for use of water from September 8th to October 23rd. She left on October 23rd, wasn't realizing that she had a portion of water usage before she did leave.
And we will write to her, explain it to her, get this fixed. Item 5 is a thank you from Richard Cook on Willow Street regarding our streets and ditches and the DPW. Item 6 is correspondence from Aubrey Excavating and Trucking requesting a change in the water sewer billing of the downtown apartment.
And we have codes going in and confirm that it's down to 2. I think we were discussing
No,
the procedures.
Paul said it was 2.
Actually,
No,
no, I said
no.
he was changing it from commercial to residential, but he only had one residence in there. So what we were doing was we were switching his water bill from commercial to residential.
Residential.
But I don't know why we put it
Why did we
down
bill him
as
for
2
2
residences
addresses?
instead of 1.
Well, I asked you that at the meeting. I said, how many units are there? And you
He's
said
only
2.
got one, no
Well,
idea.
you,
Remember
So
we
we
said
got
to
one
Larry,
unit.
Larry was here that night, we said, Larry, you know, if you happen to see later on, he puts the second one in, please notify us in case he doesn't let us
And
know.
not that, what we said was, he'd have to, if he wanted to put a second unit in, he'd have to go through the building department in order to get the building
building
permit,
permit
put
to
the
do
second
it.
unit in, then we'd
That's right.
know he had a second unit, and we would charge him for that second unit after he filed for his building permit, or after he started using it. So I just don't understand why we're charging him for 2 services. He went from commercial to residential, and he should have been only charged that one service.
so what is actually there, Paul?
One unit right now,
One residential
one
there?
residential.
You looked at that, because that's what you said you were going to do.
Yeah,
At the last meeting, not the last meeting, but the meeting before that, when we had this issue, Larry was here as well, and I said, I was just in there, and Larry says, yeah, I was there too, but he did say he was going to put a second one. And that's when Paul said something about, we gotta get a building thing, and he said, I understand that. So the whole thing was left going from commercial to residential, 1 unit. What he's saying here is he's getting 2 bills for residential, he has no 2. So he'd like this corrected and put back to 1.
Mhm.
Do we need a motion on that?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to correct this to 1 residential unit.
Second.
Can we have Mickey confirm these
Sure.
as a codes enforcement to keep it to the letter of the law?
That's fine.
And then, yeah, definitely would correct this issue if it needs correcting. So can we go ahead and make the motion based on his findings? If it is 1, 2, that we would correct it down to 1? You want to do that, guys?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. So can we restate the motion?
I make a motion based on Mike Tatro's findings that there is 1 unit at the address 18 Cedar Street in the village, that there is 1 residence as per discussed prior, and if he does find that, to change the billing to 1 water sewer residential.
Thank you.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Too fast?
We haven't been billed for this property, by the way. We're just trying to get this changed prior to our next billing.
Okay, great.
I'm sorry,
Wonderful.
who seconded, I'm sorry.
I'll second.
Barbara. Okay, thank you.
Item 7 is our response to the town of Champlain regarding the establishment of districts. They asked if we were interested in pursuing this. We'd great to hear from them. Correspondence 8 is correspondence from Senator Schumer informing us of grant information.
And this website that he gave us does give us an up-to-date on all grants that come up. And there are quite a few water sewer grants available with deadlines not till April. So we will be looking at that.
Item 9 is from the Clinton County Health Department informing us of our annual water quality report and relative information.
Along this letter as well, I was talking with Larry. He was going to tell us tonight the date, but he's not here. There is a class coming up for training on proper procedures in testing the water. It's pretty much a mandatory course that the licensed water facility must go to. I believe he told me a half-a-day course, so we wanted our approval to go to it. And I there's no cost to it.
Where is it at?
Plattsburgh. No
Is,
cost.
is Woody Kissel also following through with the water permit also? Is Woody doing some
A
work on that?
license, to get the
Yeah.
license? Not that I'm aware of. I can check with him.
He had started a water license process, I believe.
Course or
Oh, a
something?
long time ago, but
Yeah.
I don't think we ever followed.
Well, I think we ended up, he was gonna take something online to get him started, but it was the beginning of it.
Because the
Wasn't
timing.
actually working on his
the-
license.
The timing was, there was no schools offered or classes, I think.
That was
So you
just in
couldn't-
the last 2 or 3 couple of
Right,
months.
because we should have a redundant person in the event someone gets sick
And same
that
with
holds a
sewer.
water license, and the same
Yes,
thing with sewer.
yes, and we are kind of hopefully going to get that.
So this goes towards his credits of the water license? Is that correct?
I don't know about that. I think it's just
No,
training
it's
from
just
County Health
training to
Department.
test, do the annual testing that they have to do, so he's following the specific codes and procedure and giving them a valid test of the water.
Does normal, he holds a water license?
Yes.
Holding that water license, doesn't he have those credentials now, the proper way to test?
Yes, but they have updates constantly, so annually they do any changes in procedure, and they would like all licensed water people to be at those for updates.
I make a motion to let Larry Sorrell attend this update water class, to leave the village of Champlain to attend this.
And a second, please.
One second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Thank you. Mrs. Dawson?
Item 10 is the 2005 materials and services contract with Clinton County Highway Department. Item 11 is a request for letter of support from the Friends of the North Country regarding their $300,000 rehab grant. This they do, I don't know if it's on a yearly basis, just looking for support from other communities as part of their grant. We certainly have to look forward looking to support them.
Oh, I think so.
I think support in a letter, or is it support in dollars? It's just a
No,
letter.
just a letter.
of support that they
Yeah.
put in their
Yeah.
package when they apply.
Yep.
And these are
I
also
agree.
folks that, for grant writing, that
Yep.
we're waiting to get back on.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we send a letter of support to them.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm supposed to say motion made by, I haven't been doing that. Is that, you got
Motion
it?
made by, seconded
Got it.
by.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just realized that.
Excuse me.
Item 12 is correspondence from Range Repair requesting a water sewer change at 93 Elm Street.
Same thing, Mickey, just confirm this, and we can have a motion on confirmation that we will correct this issue. Can someone make that?
I make a motion that after we research this issue, and I'm sure it should be fairly easy, the place is definitely burnt out, that we change the water sewer billing to this property.
What they're, so I have to abstain from that, but just with Don, it's 80 seconds. Just so you understand, it used to be 4, the billing is set up for 4, and I'm requesting 2. I have 1 back up and running, and the second one's so close that we might as well just put it there, and the other 4 is gonna be alive.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
Was it,
Rainey abstains.
I abstain.
no, but who seconded it? Was it, yeah.
No,
I made the motion.
Paul, second,
Paul,
sorry,
second.
motion made by trustee Moore, seconded by trustee Barker, abstain, trustee Foyer,
Okay.
all the rest of us in favor.
And 13 is correspondence from the Clinton County Health Department regarding the food service training seminar.
And that has nothing to do with us. Unless we're gonna start cooking. Okay, moving right along. Old business. Ice.com culverts invoice, I already reported to you on that. We are going to be paid. I'm meeting with him tomorrow. He's going to give us something in writing so that we are covered. All right? Rouse's Point water tank. Anything new on that?
Well, we'll do with grants and stuff, is that what you want?
That's what we're at the point now, is with grants. We've sent them a letter, obviously, just to retain it at this point. so.
Okay, all right. NCCS Elementary School, anything further with that?
I've returned the keys back to Jim Menard. I think I reported at the last meeting, right?
No, you had them at the last meeting.
Okay. He needed them back for some other issues, so he
Okay.
has the key back at this point.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to take that off, you want to move forward with it. We didn't really kind of
decision.
Well, are we looking to move forward with this?
Well, you should check how much it costs first.
Right.
Because I know we've held things in school before, you have to, pay for a custodian and whatnot. I don't know what that would incur.
Okay.
If you're interested in doing that or checking into it, you should find out how much it would cost us to have the.
Yeah, well, actually, not just for meetings. I've actually done a lot of research on taking over the whole building, but I think.
And what would the cost on that be?
I
You've
think
got two
there's
separate
not-
issues.
Yeah. I think what we'll do in the elementary school is wait till, see how elections pan out.
There's a lot
We're
of
not gonna
decisions
solve
have
this
to be
problem
made
in
there,
2
and
months.
it would be fair to
So-
do it right now.
Okay.
See which
And the
direction.
developer was looking at that building as well.
Yeah.
So should we just take this off for now?
I would take it off, and then we'll
Yeah.
just,
Okay.
When it becomes an issue, we'll put it back
the
on.
next board,
Okay.
we'll have time to address it.
Purchase policy, this has been on forever. Can we remove this?
Are you familiar with the reason why it's there? It's been there for 2 years.
Right, yes. You wanted to question having the authority to purchase something that's more than $50.
Right, the superintendent should have other alterations than $50, and there's a little bit of history of that $50 from what I understand, which I guess we don't need to get into, but in order to acquire a superintendent who's gonna be running this kind of a department, it's kind of redundant. What he does is the math. He can't spend over $50, but he needs 55 gallons of oil, because we get it by a drum. So he purchased it by the quart. You know, it's kind of a play on math. It doesn't make any difference. He's gonna spend a couple $100 on oil anyways. It's kind of foolish to put a person in that type of position to do math all the time. Oh, he buys stone, unless it's an emergency purchase, he has to do the math on everything he buys. That's why that's in there, and at the time, there was a lot of issues on the table, so it's just kind of stayed there. It's something that I think is gonna take a little bit of time for us to sit down and review and say, what is gonna be our limit? $50 just doesn't, in this day and time, doesn't really amount to much. I know the town uses 1,500. I'm not saying we need 1,500, but $50 just doesn't seem to add up. It's the reason why it's on there.
I think we should leave the purchase policy on, and then, as we deal with the new superintendent,
See what
we'll also
fits.
deal with this issue as far as, adjusting this price.
Could I make a comment?
Yeah.
About the purchase policy. I don't know whether it's been addressed this year by the board or not, but as I recall, from my readings over the last 10 years or so, and I don't think the laws have changed much because we have such a fantastic legislature down in Albany, the purchase policy has to be reviewed and I think formally acknowledged that that's in place at least once a year, and maybe it's done in the standard set of resolutions that you folks do every year.
We copy that for the board for the organizational meeting each year.
Okay,
That's when it's reviewed.
Just- that's all I had.
And actually, that was reviewed
I remember
twice
that.
since this is put on here, and it's never been changed.
Well, why don't we take it off for now, as we did the elementary school? And if that comes up as a concern with the new superintendent, then we will address it at that point.
I don't think it's a concern of the superintendent. I think it's a
Okay.
concern of the board of putting a person in that position. It's kind of elementary. It's like,
Well, those
This
are
is-
put in place obviously for safety valves, yes, and I see that, they do
And there was
break it
past
down
problems.
to get around.
Right.
But a lot of companies do put that restriction in there just so that there's a second set of eyes looking at it, so there is no misappropriation of funds.
exactly. And like I say, I mean, back 20, 50 years ago, it's great, but nowadays, $50 is,
Okay, well, we'll leave that on then. All right, heating cost reduction, office garage complex. We have a couple purchase requisitions. Larry did get some quotes on insulation for the garage.
see,
We can take a look at that.
is that in this month's?
Should be, at least, he said it was here. He told me them, so I thought it was in here. I'm picturing in my head.
See welder toolbox.
He didn't make a copy of it?
Tank for the jetter and electric door
I didn't
opener.
make an item.
Okay, I have a note on that, because I talked with them, hold on, I'll let you know,
Okay.
and then, you guys can get that.
Electric
Um,
door opener.
Yeah. bear with me. He received 2 quotes, one from Samples and one from Shazy Hardware. Shazy Hardware came in at $850, somewhere in that ballpark, plus a charge to rent the machine to blow in the insulation.
Where's this, Shazy Hardware?
Shazy Hardware. Samples lumber for the same amount, it would be $600, and we could use the machine as the part of the expense with the purchase of the insulation. I don't see where I wrote that down, but I spoke with him today. He was going to talk to you guys about that tonight, and unfortunately he's out on the road. Oh, maybe it's on the next page. Sorry. I'm trying to keep track of all my notes. No.
We've kind of looked at this before, being in that garage, and I think before we even think about blowing insulation in that building, what we ought to do is maybe cover up the holes that are out there. There's, you can stand upstairs in the attic and you can look right outside, so
I mean,
think-
blowing,
Well, that's part of it. They will cover that up and then fill in the insulation in that upper part. Right now, we're just sucking the heat right out of that
Oh,
building.
yeah, it's $7,000
I mean, we're burning
a year
oil.
just to heat this building.
Right, it's outrageous. So for $600, I think we can begin to correct part of this issue. We've had this on ongoing old business now for a year. I mean, it seems like forever since I came on. I know it's been a discussion.
do we know
And we
how
have the
much,
funds
how thick,
available.
how thick is he putting this? Yeah, does it,
He-
you see what I
he
mean?
gave me all
$600
this.
doesn't,
Yeah, he gave me all the amounts.
is he doing
Uh,
office, is he doing garage?
He was gonna have it up above the garage in the, you know, the upper portion. You know, I've got the wood planks that run down the side and the wings on either side, easements. Those would be filled in from all the way up to here, up to this line right here.
Okay.
And then back all the way to where that hole was in the back wall. They're gonna seal that and fill in on the sides. Obviously, you can't fill in the center floor.
With this border.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, there's a couple, I mean, if you don't put a little bit of thought into this prior to doing it, insulation's gonna help, but the minute you put it up against the outer wall where the roof meets the floor, so you did a 3-foot wide swath all the way down the edges, when it impinges on the ceiling and there's no ventilation there, you're gonna get condensation. Condensation's gonna turn to rot, you're gonna have water stains, it could compile the problems. In other words, if you're gonna insulate, you have to do a good look at it, make sure there's proper ventilation, proper thickness, it doesn't fall through the ceiling.
Get a building permit, the building inspector will watch.
There you go.
Well, you see what I mean, but you know what I'm talking about, Mike.
And then
I mean, it's a good idea, but there's a lot to that. It's more than just throwing
No,
insulation up there.
you're right, you have to have ventilation, you have to
Gotta
have
have
proper
ventilation.
ventilation.
If you don't, you
Vapor
wasted it.
barrier, you know, you might want to put a vapor barrier up that's protected.
Depending on the design of the building, there's a lot more to it. He's on the right track, insulation, but there's a lot of detail goes with that,
Give it to
depending
the
on
building department. I think we'd hand it right over to.
Hand it over to Mike, yeah.
Yeah.
Start
We'll
insulating.
have you get together with Larry and go over that, all right? And then at the next meeting, we'll have the details spelled out, okay? All right. Next, parks grants, as I said, I do apologize on that. If I've missed the cutoff, it is my doing. I
I'll try
have
to-
been straight out. I will be addressing that this week. I did get a copy of it and have looked it over. I'll call those folks and see if we can beg, based on, you know, all our changes and issues, and see if we can go any further with that. Otherwise, there are lots of new grants out there for boat launches and riverside and waterfront grants, so we could just look at it.
This was a matching fund grant, so we would have to budget for that anyway.
Right.
It's 19,000.
And we could use in-kind services, you said, with that.
Right, so it would be a big loss.
Right.
We lost the 19, is what we have.
Yep.
Possible, yeah.
And also that cost offset, because it's offset by the equipment use and things like that. on the
A
account.
lot of times it's not the exact dollar amount, equipment, labor, whatever, gas, whatever.
Okay, Time Warner Cable franchise. Rainey, you were gonna look into that. We were supposed to follow up on that.
I have the contract, I have all my corrections made on a rough draft, well, actually on the original copy that I got.
Okay, can you copy us with that? And then hopefully, because we had to respond, we have 6 months from the time they sent us the letter to get with them.
Did
Okay, great.
Did you get a copy of this, Jeff? Have you had a copy of this time around?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to review it yet.
It's pretty
yeah.
thick, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got one still, so.
Very legal. Okay, great.
It was a 10-year contract also, so I don't
Correct.
know if we
We
want
wanna
to
make
address
sure
that.
it's,
Yeah, and we're not up on our contract until August of 2007.
Right, they just
So-
want to do it so it's ahead of time to
Yeah.
get prepared.
We have plenty of time.
Yep.
All right, Teamsters Local 687, you've already reported to us on that. And turnaround request to Edward Bayshard. He has given us verbal permission to turn around his property. He does not want to put anything in writing, but he has no problem with us turning around his driveway.
Now, is this the property where the recent accident happened?
when we talked about it, we assumed it was Ubal Garso, but the actual property owner is Eddie Bayshore.
So this is the trailer park?
It's his trailer park,
across from,
the abandoned
business
garage
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Actually, we do have something in writing from him, don't we?
from
No.
him.
No?
We had a letter
We
to him.
wrote to
Oh,
We
him.
wrote to him, yeah.
Good.
And we called to confirm that he received, he said yes, he goes, I just don't want to sign my name on anything, but he has no problem with us turning around, so that's great. I'll leave it at that. Is there any new business at this time? Okay, presentation of warrant and payment, do we go through each of these now?
We
The
have
purchase recs?
first, yeah.
Okay, we have quite a few purchase recs,
Wow,
yeah.
everybody's got a lot of money this month, huh?
Kind of putting in motion some of the things that we are really in need of as we are reviewing for budget requests. And we can start with this laser fax machine. Currently, right now, they hand feed one at a time to go through for a fax. We have a couple quotes here.
Amy, on the fax, the laser fax and the dot matrix, there's no figures on those. I'd like to wait on those.
Okay.
There is money in the account, but it's not close enough to the end of the year yet to spend.
Okay.
So can we just hold on those?
We
two?
sure can.
We do have the quotes. But I'd like to get, but the shredder, I do have one for the paper shredder. We
Okay.
have money for that.
$79.99 or $77.79?
Yeah, there's two of them, yeah. And there's money in the account to cover that stuff.
I think one, no, there might be one, doesn't include the shipping, I don't remember on the, one the shipping, or the other one, I don't think it is, so.
Everybody check the Staples? Check Staples?
I didn't check Staples catalog, but I would assume that they're pretty close to the same price. I've had a little bit of a run-in with Staples, and I just assume that deal will begin. But I certainly can check. For the
We don't
same
currently,
brand.
we don't currently have one. We don't
It's
have
broke.
one. Oh, it's broke.
I mean,
We do go through quite a few papers in this place.
I think I got through it seriously. I said, that was a lot of years ago.
I put my shredder to great use this weekend, 3 hours straight.
I
Okay,
had
here
that
it
much
is.
shredding, and I run an office in 5 years. You put out a lot of stuff to shred.
What were the quotes? I don't have an
We're
attachment.
talking about $80, give or take a few dollars. One is $79.99 and the other is
Well,
$77.79.
One's from Quill and one's from that,
Reliable.
Reliable. I get those magazines too.
Both are really
I
good
mean, there's
places.
other ones, but I try to pick a little better quality so it will
So
last.
don't burn out, right? Just confirm with samples then, on
Staples.
comparable stamp, what did I say? Samples.
Samples. Assembly lumber.
Okay, you know, you just gotta get used to it. I say lots of funny things. Okay, my kids laugh at me. God knows what it's gonna be when I turn 80. Confirm on that, but, can we get an approval to spend $80, up to $80, if we can find it, cheaper with the same horsepower to get that for the office? Can I get a motion for that?
Do we have the money for this? I don't have that.
Yep, we have
Show it.
$270.59 available in the account,
So
so.
What
at
is
the
it?
bottom of your purchase record shows your.
Mine doesn't.
Budget.
The one with the quotes didn't have it, but you were copied with just the top sheet earlier today, once I got the quotes from Janice this
It's the
morning.
Fellows P600C.
So it's just a duplicate of what you have with the attachments.
There was $500 budgeted, there's a balance in there, $270, and the purchase record for $80.
And can you think of anything else that we would be needing out of that account?
No, but we still have the other money there, just kind of hanging in there.
Right.
That doesn't work at all.
But we've gotta have the shredder.
Yeah.
Right.
You can all make a motion that we purchase a shredder.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second for shredder.
All in favor? Aye? Abstain or?
Well, no, I was just making, part of that motion is checking with Staples, just in case.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. If it, same power motor,
Right.
Same, I'll look
cheaper,
for the same
we'll buy it
model.
for them. Yep,
They both have the same,
okay.
pretty much.
We did have one from the court also, with a laser jet cartridge.
Oh, yeah, I saw that, okay.
Again, their account has 1,800, was the budgeted amount, and they have $483, and the cartridge is $81.99.
And that is for their printer? Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
A second.
Motion by trustee Poirier, second by trustee Moore. All in favor? Aye. Any abstain or no?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right. The Okita dot matrix printer.
No, that's the other one that's already out.
Okay.
Both of those are ready.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you. Next, let's do Woody Kissel's wastewater treatment plant. Got a few from Woody. These are just standard, have to purchase. 8-inch eccentric plug valve for aeration tank. Old valve is broken, and this is needed to accomplish the repairs on the digester.
That's that valve. In the last few meetings, I've gotten updates from Woody. He's
Yeah.
looked on the internet, he's searched all over.
So
Apparently he's found one.
Yep, he found one for $690.15. In this account, we originally budgeted for $4,000, and we have $1,396 available to purchase this. Obviously, we need to replace the valve.
I make a motion that we replace the valve.
Okay, do I have a second?
One second.
Motion by trustee Barker, second by trustee Poirier. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, he had 150 package cod vials. Is that right, cod vials, folks? And sample cells, 6-pack. This is for all the testing. It's $192.50 for the vials, and sample cell 6-pack is $25. These are standard purchases. We are budgeted $12,600 in this account, and we still have $6,071.93 available. So he is looking to spend $217.50. I can have a motion to
So
purchase
moved.
those.
Second.
Motion by trustee Poirier, second by trustee Barker. All in favor? Aye. Okay, approved. Okay, that's Larry's water. Hold on. Any more Woodies? Okay, now water. Let's work on the water issues. One thing to let you know that we did purchase recently a chlorine tester, and we have dropped dramatically the amount of chlorine. I don't know if any of you have noticed it in the taste of your water. I sure have. Huge difference. You don't even smell the chlorine coming out of your faucet now. So we're going to save quite a bit of money there, which is a nice little catch for us. So the first one is for DPD Total Chlorine 100 package. Chlorine RGT? No, R quart. 100 per package. He's looking to spend $66.20. He's not here to talk to me about this, so I'm assuming it is a regular purchase of items he has to have for the water for testing. Oh, is this just for the chlorine? Do you know, Janice?
I don't have a clue, sorry.
There is it's a packet, something to do with testing chlorine, but I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's a regular
stock
Right, it
item
is.
per se.
Yeah, but I'm not
Um,
sure what the item is.
And I'm not sure how much of it he uses, and it looks like the way he's buying it, 4 packages at $100 per package. So you're talking $16.55 for 100 of them, and he wants 4 packages. $66.20.
R Court, DPD. I would assume it's a regular purchase. We have available $488.91 to pay that. I would assume it's something he needs, based on only being $66.20. Can I have a motion?
I don't know exactly what it is, but I'll make the motion because it does look like it's legit.
Right.
And it's not something, it's not a color TV, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I'll make that motion.
It's chlorine is white,
Yeah,
black and
second.
white. All in favor?
Uh,
Motion made by trustee Poirier, seconded by trustee Moore. All in favor?
If you do happen to talk to Larry,
I'll check on this specific.
yeah, ask him, like, you know, when he gets into this weird stuff, it's not self-explanatory, just put
Well,
a
he
little
meant
note.
to be here tonight,
Right.
so.
And even
Yeah.
Woody as well, Woody kind of defined it, but if we get into that type of situation, you know, we're not guessing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's a
For,
model of a color TV.
For us impaired, can you explain your abbreviations? Okay, great. Let's see. Okay, the rest are for here. The 725 gallon tank for the sewer jet. We are having repeated problems with that. They have resoldered it yet again. Larry searched out trying to find a new tank. Let's see, we have a quote attached here. From Greenleaf, he had a quote for $732 for a tank, and one for $1,000 plus $245 to deliver it from another place.
Just
some
some,
questions about it.
my opinion, and just because I've talked to the guys about this, and I've been out in the shop, I don't know if Rainey, with tools and equipment, we do need that sewer jetter fixed because of what we're hoping to do come this summer. We want to clean out our drains, and this is really an important item. The problem I have with that is, we don't even know if that truck is not gonna last, okay? You can't stop that truck without smoke just billowing around you. So I think before we spend and put money into that tank, we should actually do a little bit more research and see if that truck's gonna last.
It's a
Didn't we
tank
talk
that will
about-
attach onto any, and
Yeah.
a truck, so if we end up
I think-
having to do something with that
I
truck.
think what we talked about before is we actually talked about taking the compressor part off the truck, putting a tank onto like a.
Just to shed some light on this, Paul, the tank that's mounted on that truck came off another truck, so it's kind of mounted on a subframe. The tank that's part of the subframe is a part that's in jeopardy here.
Right.
It's leaking, it is pretty rough. I've looked at this a few months ago, and as a matter of fact, I told her, I said, you know, find something, let me know what it is, let's get this, because we had rust in the pump, we took it to Rouse's Point, had it fixed. So I guess what I'm saying is by putting a poly tank in there would not take away from, or add any value to the truck itself.
Right.
That whole chassis could be taken off on another truck or on axles to make a trailer
Yeah,
and
we're-
eliminate
we were
another
talking
registration and the
about-
whole thing.
That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to
Right.
put it on a trailer so that a van and stuff could pull it around.
So whether, I
and
guess what I'm
operate.
saying is whether the tank's installed or not installed, it wouldn't have any bearing on it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually a positive thing. The only thing I didn't notice in here is it's not showing any taps on this tank. Anytime you get into a poly tank, and you gotta make a penetration in it, they do make fittings, you cut a hole and you make, but structurally, once you start taking the tank has to be designed for it to put a port.
Mhm.
So I guess what I'm saying is I'm willing to make a motion on this, but we have to confirm that Larry has done his homework, maybe him and Terry, who's kind of mechanical as well, get
Right.
together.
I
Get a
know they
good
were
eyeball
both
on
telling
this.
me about it, but I will just like
Right.
confirm with them.
What I don't want to do is get a poly tank in here, core drill a 2-inch hole in the side to get a suction line out of it and have the tank rupture or belly because it's not structurally designed for it.
Okay, so can you make a motion to incorporate that, please?
I'll make a motion to follow through with the Greenlee Sales Corp tank It's the 525 leg tank with the bands, providing it fits the spec of a supply tap from the manufacturer.
Very good. Do I have a second, please?
You know, second, your motion, you want to make sure that they have fitting their
It-
ports,
it-
you want to have ports installed.
It will
The taps
accept
on
it,
the
it will
tank.
either accept the port, or we can install it, or it'll come with it, one of the two. But ask the manufacturer that if the tapping can go in that part of the tank that we need to fit this application.
Okay. And if it does, we are approving the purchase of that tank.
Of that one, yes.
Okay. Second?
I'll second that.
All in fa, motion made by trustee Poirier, seconded by trustee Moore. All in favor? Aye? And to let you all know, we have budgeted $15,000 in that account, and we still have $11,588 available, so we are very okay in that. Okay, next, electric drawer opener. I had requested quotes on that, and my main concern with that is back injuries. They were having trouble with the door. We have replaced the pulleys, and the whole, the part that the wheels run down. Help me, word, please.
$300 and some dollars to have the tracks and
The
rollers
tracks,
adjusted
replacement of the
last
tracks.
month.
Yes, thank you. These guys open and close this door constantly with the snow plows going in and out, and it's going to take one bend the wrong way, and we have a back injury that is going to cost us 10 times the $600 amount. I'm looking at the number of workman's comp incidences we have had this year alone, quite a bit. And so I had asked for estimates, and again, we have the money available. This is the same account that has $11,000 in it, and I feel that for $600, we really should install the electric garage door opener to alleviate any injuries for simple lifting of the door, and that seems to be where so many back injuries come from, is something so simple.
Getting back to workers' comp, the only claim I'm aware of in the past year was an elbow injury due to at the wastewater treatment plant. The elbow with James Russo.
We had that.
Someone else
and
got hurt?
We had the incidents with,
Woody,
Former employee, but
yes, one of our former employees, and Woody had one as well.
he was pulling on something.
Wastewater treatment.
Yeah, our perma claims,
I think it
you know,
was
where our rating isn't as good as it used to be because we've had so many things filed.
Well,
And I don't have that in front of me, so.
we did have a former employee that was always getting hurt, but.
Right.
Well, a door that size, you probably should have an opener on it. That's a fairly good size.
I was just looking at safety issues, and I know that, backs are the #1 killer for people in comp claims, and that would alleviate
I
a
hear-
big risk.
I hear what you're saying, but on the other side of it, and we just spent $300 and some odd dollars on that door to have it adjusted, and if it was lifting hard to begin with, that's obviously why we had to repair it. Maybe they got bumped out of line, whatever.
Well, we won't have to replace it, that's already done, and now we,
But
put
when
the
it-
electric part in, it will work, that nothing else has to be replaced but to put in the electric opener.
I understand that. What I'm saying is we just spent $300 and some dollars to get it back operational, so it does lift. It's made to be a man door or electrically operated. To spend another $600, now we're up to $900 to get a truck in and out. I don't know if you've seen them pull that truck in or out. There's inches of clearance. There's not a lot of clearance. I'm not saying a door opener wouldn't fit, but what I'm saying is with inches of clearance, and now you're depending on an automatic or automated device with inches of clearance. We don't have a real good-sized door that most other places have. You're gonna hit that remote when it's snowing, and you're gonna look up, and you're gonna think it's open. I see more potential damage coming. My own opinion. I think if the door's been there that long, and if we're gonna do anything with that door, let's get the life expectancy out of it. We're gonna have $900 in this door. That's an old door. Replace the door, upsize, widen, spend the money to get it where it belongs for the purpose of coming in and out, bad weather, plowing and whatever. That's my opinion.
And not only that, I think that because that building back there in that garage is so old, I think you're gonna have to work on structural support as far as mounting a motor and an apparatus to pull this door up and down. We don't know, I mean, those,
If you
most
got
of
a-
those rafters,
I
if they're
agree.
all rotten and split.
The thing is, if you got a quote, I'm assuming the guy came down and looked at it, and I know what you're saying, it is tight. How they're gonna do it, they must have a side motor to a gear to a shaft, and that's okay, but I'm sure it's possible. Nowadays, there's nothing that's impossible. What I'm saying is the clearance, our ceiling is right there. The trucks just make it
Well,
now.
these two companies took a look, and this is what they said that
That
it
it could
cost.
do, it would work, yeah.
So we can do that.
So, do I have a motion?
Well, I'll make a motion to get the door open.
And second? I second it. All in favor? Aye.
No, abstained.
Abstained? Okay, doesn't carry. Okay.
Did you have 2 votes to 1? Randy said you're abstaining.
I have to have 3
You have to have
yes.
3. Pass. Okay, the next is a toolbox. See attached quote. Again, this is from a $15,000 account. This is from a request from Terry, who is now repairing our vehicles, which is saving us a mega amount of money. I had requested him to look at a locked toolbox for this equipment, so that this can remain locked. He would be in charge of the inventory of that equipment on a weekly basis to ensure that it's still there. And obviously Craftsman has a lifetime warranty, so he had checked into that and given us a quote on the toolbox, and this is for mechanical equipment for repairing our vehicles. So we won't be having these huge out-of-pocket expenses to have our vehicles sent away. And in order to do that, we need to have the proper tools. So attached on the same thing, there is the toolbox that he felt at $299. And then if you buy it during Craftsman Week, you get an additional 10% off. And then the tools that he felt would be necessary is the 318 pieces of mechanic set, and the 270 or the 275 piece mechanic set. So one is $359.89 and one is $269.89. Obviously, his first choice was the bigger choice, but he was giving us a couple options. So currently, we do not have the proper mechanics tools. He said some of our wrenches back there, they're bent, they're not of any quality. Someone's going to get hurt when he's cranking on these goods. They're going to snap, and so he was requesting proper tools. And so I said, write it up, and let's see what we can do. Questions?
There's 2 ways to look at it. I've got nothing against Sears. My own opinion, it should go one of 2 ways. Obviously, we're not a licensed repair shop, but we can and do have the ability to make our own repairs. So there's 2 sides looking at this. So far, what I've seen, the biggest job we've done here is change leaf springs in the back of, I think it was the jetter truck or the plow truck, whatever. They did a great job. Apparently we had the tools to do it. Whether they were correct or not, I don't know. So there's 2 sides looking at this. If it looks like we're going to start focusing on maintaining our equipment a little better than we have in the past, then yeah, but I think we should go to the snap-on then. If we're going to get tools in here to keep the minor repairs that we have been doing, you know what? I think Tools Unlimited is satisfactory. Let's prove a record. Let's get some tools in here that stay, first of all. Once we've proven that, then we can go from Tools Unlimited to a snap-on.
He did not feel that that would be a good way of spending our money because of the quality of the tools.
Snap-on tools aren't that good.
He
They
was
are
pretty
working for it.
adamant about the quality of it. He has no problem in maintaining the vehicles, and he's done a very good job. He has actually gotten everything up to date, things that hadn't had their oil changed in quite some time. He has gotten all our records up to date. And he just wanted safe, dependable tools to do
And
that.
Sears is very reasonable. We get a lot of Sears tools that work.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
They're the way to go. They're not pricey.
And their lifetime warranty.
Yes.
So,
And
and he
these
has.
are not very big prices for tools.
No,
I mean,
no. I thought it was
bought
gonna be
sets
more.
of tools. These are not.
And that was one of my discussions with him, is this is going to be his responsibility, as he has kind of taken the lead back there with keeping up to date. We had discussed several meetings ago about keeping up to date on all our changes, keeping it logged in the back, and you'll see that there are current dates now on almost every piece of equipment, which is nice to see.
I see he's first one in a long time putting oil in the trucks. The last one was Ronnie Houston, before Terry got here.
He's doing a great job.
Keeping
Doing a
track
great
of
job.
that.
Yeah. So we've kind of taken that as his little baby, and he's kind of overseeing that and doing a great job. So, I have a motion to get the tools and trust.
Well, I'll make a motion to get the $359 tool, the 318-piece tool set, and the $299 toolbox.
Okay, do I have a second?
I think I can support the tools as long as that Terry is going to be completely responsible for this.
He's going to do
Lock
up an
it up.
inventory sheet on receiving of these. He will be responsible for it, and each week he will do a checklist if those pieces are there and accounted for.
Yeah,
Will
because
this
now it's
remain locked?
Locked. It
Yeah.
will remain locked.
He'll
That
have
was
the keys to
deal.
it, that's
He'll have
it.
the keys to it. We'll have to have one in the safe as well, in case
Right.
something happens to him.
An
But
inventory list in the office or
the
something?
inventory list will be a checklist that he can keep in, we can have a copy here in the office, and we can keep a clipboard in the back, so we can just pick it up and check it off every week.
Yeah, because we both know, we both work in some kind of
Oh, yeah.
mechanical or construction. Stuff gets lost, and I mean, oh boy.
Somebody has to have ownership.
But I'll second it as long as, and I trust Terry, that Terry be responsible for this package. And,
Okay, with the checklist,
lock.
locked, one key to office, one key dispossession. Okay, I have a motion by trustee Moore and a second by trustee Barker. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay. And the other thing that Terry had requested, the welder that we have in the back is extremely old and dangerous. And they were using it last week. They're requesting a shield, a face shield as well. They need something with more power. This is for when they go to put on the snow blades, the blades onto the snow plows and any other welding. They were welding the sewer tank on. And so they were requesting a better welder in order to do the job. And they've gotten a couple quotes again. One was for $1,300 from Marion Graves. And another one was for $802 from Marion Graves. It's a 175 plus system. And apparently they felt that that would be adequate. We didn't need to go with the more expensive model. But apparently they do quite a bit of welding back there, and that we are running into some safety issues. So I had asked them to get us quotes on that.
Randy, you do a lot of welding, so I mean, I'm not really,
Yeah, and I'm no authority on a welder either,
so
so.
I'm gonna go in here.
These look like Lincolns. I don't know if it's Miller or Lincolns. I'm just basing off the part number. I've got to do more research on it in order to make an opinion on it. The 175 plus, that sounds like they call it a suitcase. It's a very small unit, the MIG welder, I believe.
Yes.
And right now they have a Lincoln 225 buzz box, which this doesn't even compare. This is for like fender and body work. You can get into some real light steel. The other one for $1,300, I believe that's a Lincoln too, based on that part number 1 link. It's a 215. And I'm not. Who spec'd this out? Did the dealer come down, or did the guys ask, say, hey, this is what we're looking to do? What
Terry
machine
was
fits it?
asking what what he wanted, I guess, and spoke with the people as to what specifications, what he wanted to do, and got the two. I mean, obviously, they would love to have the $1,300, but they thought that, you know, they were asking for the world right now, so he gave us a second quote that he felt would still be adequate for the work he's going to be doing.
The thing is with welders, if you go too small, you're better off not to have one at all. You can always take a larger welder and turn it down. If you have one too small, it's not.
He's more than happy to go with the better welder.
Well, this is not something they need right away, and if the board doesn't mind, I'll look into it and see the amperage and
Table
the
to next.
service and whatever.
All right, if you could get that for the next meeting then, we'll bring that up. Okay. Because they are going to be needing that with the new sewer jet to get that put on as well. You know, to attach the new sewer jet to the truck again.
It's a plastic tank.
Yeah, but don't you going to have to attach
Well, there'll probably
it
be some
somehow?
brackets
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but that buzz box should do it. But
Okay. All right. And I think that's it? Are we done spending? Anybody have any others that I missed?
We have to make a motion on the warrant.
Yep, we can do that.
I have to, excuse me, one bill I'd like to add if I could. Celine came in today for Buckhead, and it's the highway permit bond. And the premium for that for the year is $260. So we believe warrant would make that if possible.
And would you explain to everyone what that is, Janice, please?
You're the one that called them, right? That's for the, because
That's,
it's state.
yeah, you need that to work on, state road.
Right.
Insurance.
There's insurance you have to carry in order for them to come in and take care of the state roads.
Basically going to have
I'll make a motion to approve that one. Is that what you're looking to do?
Yes.
Put that one separately from the warrants?
or add it to the warrant.
I'll make a motion to approve that pocket insurance bill. Settle work on the state roads.
Motion made by trustee Poirier, second by trustee Barker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Do we have some questions on the other bills? Our general.
Yeah, I've got some.
Okay. Go ahead.
See, Greenmont material for $332.30.
What number?
Voucher number 364.
First page, bottom.
First page bottom. There's one there, I believe there's another one for Greenmont. Yeah. 391 also.
Crushed stone.
Yeah, 74.15 on the next page. 391.
332, I just wonder where we use crushed stone this time of
I
year.
think it was a bill that got overlooked from a couple of months ago.
He has Moore Street written out there.
What street?
Moore.
It was dated October 29th.
How many ton of stone was that?
Moore Street.
You get the bill from the,
Maybe when they were doing the culverts or the road, they did some work on Moore
Yeah,
Street.
yeah, they just cut a hole and, you sure that's not for Ashline or South or,
Well, the note on the front is Moore Street, so.
Larry told me
this invoice here says armor coat, 9.89 ton. Price $33.60 a ton. On the $332.30 invoice.
Maybe I marked it wrong then on the voucher, I'm not sure.
And is there another one for voucher number?
$74, I think it
74.15, 391.
391.
was. $391.
Is that for crushed stone or for armor coat also?
Is this,
It was one from last October. It must be Larry. I must have missed it. I thought it was crushed stone. I must have misread it.
Armor coats for paving.
It's right at the end. Yes.
Graymont faxed it to us on January 11th. It's dated January 10th. It
If you
says
look-
for the invoice number 42501. And it says 42501.
But if
It
you look
says
at the
armor
date,
coat.
it should be October 29th, I believe, is the date of the invoice. It's an invoice that got missed last fall. It didn't get paid.
So where, so did this go to Moore Street? Where did it go? I mean, where it
It
went.
says Moore Street. That must be We'll have to research it if you wanna hold that one, I'm not sure, but I thought it was crushed stone, but obviously it's on the coat.
Let's hold that one because, like I said, we only cut a square,
29.
a 4x4 square out of Moore Street. I don't see how we could have used the whole.
It's just shy of 10 ton, but 10 ton isn't very much.
Moore Street, we've only got that 4x4 hole. We aren't gonna use 10 ton to patch that.
They maybe use it in other stuff. Well, I hear some doors, so maybe we can ask them before we settle on this, maybe get it into the bills. And this is the other one.
How would the OSB 357, 5760 from Shazy Hardware?
Lumber?
Yeah.
That
number
was
for,
fixing the
What number is
thing
it?
that fell through, wasn't that for the air conditioner or something? They had to buy lumber. I may be wrong, but.
He's got a note on there.
Oh, good, we got questions for you, perfect timing.
it's OSB is plywood.
See you, Chico.
The first question trustee Poirier had is on the crushed gravel that was purchased from Moore Street.
You have to probably look at it, because it was
in October, there's 9 ton of asphalt,
There wasn't-
9.8 ton.
Yeah, we use it to fix the driveway back across on Moore Street.
I don't know.
There's not a ton of that, yeah.
You should look at it, because
Is
it's,
it Moore
it's
Street or is it,
for asphalt, it's not.
No, we did some hot patching.
It says crushed stone here, it says invoice whatever crushed stone.
Yeah, we did some hot patching, and we filled around that DI we dug on the end, but the same time we did the culverts.
That was an old invoice from.
That's where we did the hot patching around the DI and stuff over on Walnut Street.
Right, okay.
I just listed it.
And
down.
then, was that part of the Moore Street patch?
We used some of that Moore Street patch.
That's what I thought, I was using 2 spots, so this 9 ton isn't a lot of
No.
coverage.
It was just patching.
I'm good with that one, I don't know if anybody else is.
We've got one other one.
Calming down.
Fill your pockets
Is
up.
it still icy, the roads?
Oh no, it's warm out.
Oh.
Tires, how about the tires, G&G tires?
20 millimeter stone. There's 10 ton of that.
That was for Moore Street.
0 dust.
Yeah, that's 0 to half inch.
Right. Backfill.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Okay, and then trustee Barker had a question on lumber. Shazy
OSB.
Hardware, 2990, was that for repairing the air conditioner that
5760.
fell through, or the heater, fan, what was it packed there?
OSB is plywood.
No.
What's plywood for?
OSB's particle board.
Right.
That was for the ceiling in the back.
Where the heater is.
The heater. Yep.
And you're questioning some G&G tires?
G&G tires, what do we got, 956? Is that one tire?
$956.
No.
That was, is that the ones you
That's
called me
4
on?
tires.
Yes.
That's 4 tires and a rim that I called Rainey on.
Okay. Is this one of the tires that got blown out by running over the sign?
Mm-hmm.
Voucher number 380. It says that Quill Corporation's copy, cable, and typewriter. Wasn't that in the vouchers?
I have that question. Copier, cable, and typewriter.
That's from the
Yeah, that was
Justice.
for the Justice Court from our grant
When they
money.
had a grant money.
They had grant money for it?
$555.
So we're not paying for
And
that?
we're-
Right,
It's,
but they have to
we-
show it as a payment. We get the money in.
We've
from
already
the
got the
grant,
money in already
And then
from
we
the
pay it
grant.
back out.
So we need to pay
just
for
has
it.
to
We
log
received
it.
a check for it. And digital voice recorder, court office too. We have a different account on
One's a point two, one's a point four.
No, actually, the digital voice
The,
recorder is gonna be a zoning. We got that, the court ordered it, and it wasn't what she wanted when she got it. And we needed a new one for the zoning and planning board anyway. So we just kept it, and she's gonna order a new one that works.
And what do they use that for in place of?
For the court upstairs, they record, I believe,
No, for the zoning, you said you're gonna use it. for
zoning and
now.
planning board always tape, and then their
And
minutes
then
are.
their minutes are typed in
Yeah.
that, okay.
And their tape recorder they have is very, very old,
Yeah, okay.
so.
Are there any other questions?
One other question, and this is confusion on my part. From what I understand, that account number is contractual, it's building. .4 is a building, this is building.
.4, that's a building account, but a .4 is a contractual account. Anything .4 is contractual, which is anything that's more or less a disposable. Not
We don't see
use of
it.
equipment.
So I guess what I'm saying is,
Hammers, nails,
this is building and this is vehicles.
51 streets.
So this is vehicles, this would be building.
Yeah.
That's what.
More streets, it's called. Yeah.
Right.
Where's the exit signs?
Well, a power outage.
We do have.
Yes, because I got little kids
Go
with
in,
power.
True Value Hardware, 227 miscellaneous.
What number, please?
It's 387.
It was probably
I see we bought
5 or
a
6
10528, and we bought a 10934, and a 10961.
Those are invoice
Them are
numbers.
invoice
Yeah.
numbers.
What did we buy?
We'll have to read them
Everything's
off.
written on the
It's probably
slips.
about 30 items, it's too much to list, so.
You get 5 here, 5 invoices.
Well, there's 5
Yeah.
invoices, but each one has probably 5 or
It's got
6
it right there.
items on it.
We usually put one for water, one garage, one streets. And usually there's a, if it does say water, streets, it's got the phone number of the building it's gone to. So you can track it.
We got some batteries and a screwdriver, a reducer, adapters, bulbs, can't read some of it, gloves, crates,
Crates.
keys, propane, you can probably read it there and there, torch light, for $11, striker for $2.
Yeah, that's a torch tank for $11 and striker for
Just
$1.
miscellaneous.
They're cold nights.
Straight kerosene for.
Straight kerosene for the salamander beside it.
Up there?
Pump out. Yeah, he's got 55-gallon drums.
Yeah. Okay, can I have a motion to pay the vouchers,
I want
please?
to shut the copier off.
I'll make a motion to pay the vouchers.
Second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by trustee Moore, second by trustee Poyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Just got
Second.
Second. Motion by trustee Moore, second by trustee Poyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you all. Please take a cup of cookies on your way out. Have a good night. We'll see you next month.